If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine, and maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them, from disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey guys, welcome back to another Weird Wednesday. I'm Ashers, and this is
Pat O.
Pat O. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too, Ashers. It's so great to hear your voice again. It's been so long.
This is not our first show of the new year. We recorded on the 1st.
We did.
And you can hear that show over on the Patreon.
They say that however you spend New Year's Day is how you're going to spend the rest of your year. And I spent New Year's Day having sex and driving across state lines and doing a podcast with you. So I think that sets the pretty good tone for the rest of the year. Very optimistic.
That sucks for me. I had a very stressful family event, but then I came home and recorded, and it was, it went well.
Right.
So family stress and more recordings. Yay! If I would have known, then I would have made different plans. No, it's all right. How was your New Year's?
Mine actually it was kind of fucked up. So the whole reason that we recorded yesterday, if you remember correctly, is because we were supposed to record on Friday. Yeah. But the very fucking second that I sat down in front of this computer right here and went to open up Zencastr and record with you, I got a phone call from one of my mom's friends that she had taken a tumble outside of the post office, banged her head on the sidewalk, and was rushed to the ER. And as a good son, I put my podcast on hold and got in the car and drove over and proceeded to sit in the emergency room with my mother for 11 fucking hours. And it was a great people watching experience. My mom's okay. She did 3 stitches. They gave her a CT scan. She's fucking fine. But sure. That was my Friday. That was all fucking day Friday. And, my week was kind of shitty because I was cleaning up the aftermath of that Arctic storm that came through the Midwest. And, I oversee facilities for a public institution. And there was about 100 buildings that were adversely affected by the weather. And it was an incredibly busy week for me. And just when I thought I was going to be able to pop an edible and record some content with my best friend Ashers, my mom had to get drunk and fucking face plant outside the post office with one of her friends. So
yeah,
there was that. And I don't know. I mean, I could do a whole entire riff on the 11 hours I spent in the ER. I won't, except to say that, like, oh man, what really got depressing was like towards the end of the night when all the fentanyl junkies came in acting like they had kidney stones and shit to like try to get their fix or whatever for New Year's Eve. And there was several. And I got into a fight with one of them because she realized that she was going to be there in a while. So she was trying to like start a fucking riot in the ER. And she's like, well, what kind of son are you sitting there with your mom? Your mom's sitting there you've been in here at that point, we've been there, who knows, 8-9 hours. You've been here 9 hours. If that was my mom, I'd be screaming and raising hell. I'm like, fuck you, junkie. Like, you just trying to get me to fucking get out of here so that you can move up so you can get your fucking fentanyl quicker. Like, shut the fuck up.
Right.
And that was like, and like, it's like you're wearing like a sweatsuit and fucking Crocs with socks on. And it's like you're wearing like the typical white trash junkie outfit. Like, then like a CTA bus hit a UPS truck and all those people came in and they thought like, oh, we're getting fucking paid. We're going to get all this money now. We're going to get paid. And then they realized, okay, well, you got to sit here for 14 hours until the doctor sees you. And if you don't get seen by a doctor in the ER, you're not going to have a lawsuit. So they sat there for like 3 hours hooting and hollering, and then they fucking left. Then there was like a stab victim that came in, and that was a whole big thing. It was just like, and the Barbara Walters died. It was just like a shitty fucking Friday. And Saturday was, I guess, New Year's Eve, technically. It was a little bit better. Got to record the Y2K Best of 2022 wrap up. And then my niece was in town, and she's a big fan of musicals and stuff, and she had never seen Rocky Horror. So spent New Year's Eve watching Rocky Horror with the family. And my son had never seen it. My niece had never seen it. And we watched it. And it was good. I like Rocky Horror. I don't like it as much as some people do.
Okay.
But I like Rocky Horror. Rocky Horror is cool. The songs are good. It's real. I hadn't seen it in a while. Like I had gone to like I think the last time I saw it, I was like at a live performance thing. And it's interesting just to kind of sit down and watch it as a film. And like Tim Curry's got such a great fucking voice.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like but by night I'm one hell of a lover. He's got like that great rock and roll voice, and like some of the songs are fucking good. Some of the songs are but I mean for the most part. And I mean it's a musical about shitty sci-fi movies. Like it's Rocky Horror, man.
It did what it set out to do and then some, Rocky Horror, I don't enjoy as a movie by itself. I do enjoy it as an experience though.
Yeah.
And, that's the important part for me. I mean, I watch it every year. I try to watch it every year. I try to at least go to a performance. We have a drive-in here that does a double feature of Rocky Horror and Little Shop of Horrors during Halloween.
It's funny you bring that up because when I came home Friday the reason this whole thing got started, I came home Friday to record this podcast with you, and my son and my niece were watching Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh yeah,
downstairs, and I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And she was like, "He never saw this." And then we started talking, and I realized they had never seen Rocky Horror, and that's kind of how that. Yeah, those two go hand in hand.
I don't know why they do, but they do. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Little Shop of Horrors is perfect.
Better music, way better. The
whole thing.
I appreciate groundbreaking trans rights stuff. Okay, whatever, fine. It's kinkier, it's hornier. I love that.
Right.
But way better music.
Oh yeah, Little Shop of Horrors way better. But that's only because I can watch Little Shop of Horrors and enjoy it on my own. I listen to it in my car by myself. And I don't care who knows it and who hears it. Whereas like Rocky Horror, it's only fun with others, to me.
Yeah.
But important. It is a milestone, it's a milestone for folks. The first time I saw it the right way. It was live. So, and I do think that that's important. If you're not going to do the sing along and the prompts, then that really needs to be your first introduction to Rocky Horror.
But, yeah, I don't know. Mine was different. I didn't see the live thing until I saw it at the Music Box maybe 5 years ago. And I'm 40. So that means I saw it when I was 30. I didn't see it live until I was 35, and I've been watching it since high school. But I don't know. Theater chicks always liked it. If you go over to a theater girl's house and put on Rocky Horror and you make out halfway through. I probably didn't even see it all the way through until my mid-20s.
Wow.
Because I just kept getting ass during it,
Just always, yeah. Well, I mean, priorities,
One thing I want to promote real quick before I pass the mic to you is I found out this weekend, actually, when we were recording last week's episode, which I guess not everyone could tell that I was fucking shit-faced during, which is interesting. But after we recorded last week's episode on the year-end predictions, I kept kind of partying. And just on a whim decided to submit a event for GaryCon. So GaryCon is the big Dungeons and Dragons convention in Lake Geneva that I go to every year. And I had submitted to run an event back in 2020, before the pandemic hit. And the whole thing got canceled. And I was going to do a gore game, Tales from Gore, which Gorean is something we'll get to at some point, Gorean culture. But never did. I never ended up doing it. And then I haven't the past couple years. And then this year, I just on a whim had this idea that I was maybe going to do something with. And then that night, after we recorded the year-end predictions podcast, I was sauced enough, and I was like, fuck it. And I filled out all the stuff, and I submitted it, and it got accepted. So I'll be running a D&D game at GaryCon this year, which is pretty cool. It's a 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons game that features the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, now in their 40s, going back to the Orient to tie up some loose ends of Master Splinters, and shenanigans ensue. So it's going to be run for 4 to 6 players. Obviously, the 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, plus Casey Jones and April O'Neil. We're going to run it at GaryCon at the end of March, but if there's interest, depending on how things work out schedule-wise with Jeff's Frogman Festival in Cincinnati earlier that month, it might not be a bad idea for me to try to do a test run. So if you're going to the Frogman Festival and you'd like to play D&D, hit me up, because if we can get at least 4 people together besides myself, I'll definitely run that either, I don't know, Friday night or Saturday night or fucking Sunday morning or whatever.
Pat is always trying to solicit people to play D&D with him at these events.
Because let me tell you something, there's a lot of D&D players there. Like, we can smell our own kind. The room's full of them, you know, which maybe hey, you know what is something that, if Jeff, Mr. Craig, if you're listening, is something that we could even make an official event thing that happens. I mean, it's a 4-hour game, so maybe at some point during the thing we could, if there's room, I could run it there. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I'm just throwing it out there. I got to do it at the end of the month anyway in Lake Geneva. It'd be nice to do a test run in front of friendly faces earlier that month so that I can make notes and see how the game plays, because this is homebrew. I'm really putting it together myself. And I'm fairly competent at it. I run D&D games all the time. But, hey, if it's an excuse to play D&D with some friends, I'll always take that. So
absolutely, that's okay.
That's all I got. What you got? How was your New Year's Eve? You were fucking drunk and traveling and out of town and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes and no. Yeah. I mean, we have like a typical, every year my friend group has a white elephant gift exchange.
Okay.
For New Year's Eve, and so I went and I did that thing. It was a little different this year, but that's okay. It wasn't bad, just different. So I went to that. It was kind of nice, because like at one point, so when I was picked up to go to the party, I was already drunk, and so so there's that. And then I went and drank some more, and so I get there or whatever, and at one point I had like this moment of clarity where everybody's having conversations about things, and I mean, the conversation that we were talking about was like applying Einstein's theory of relativity to politics, and that we were talking about quantum mechanics, and we're talking about, I mean, that's what we're drunkenly all talking about, yelling about, like we're experts on the subject. But it was nice and fun, and it reminded me that, hey, I really like these people. So that was enjoyable. I whooped some ass on some Mario Kart. That was great. So we played video games or whatever. And it was fun. Nothing too exciting happened. It was just refreshing to be able to get out and do something. And it was so simple. And, again, the plans kind of changed. So things got a little odd. But then they worked out anyway, so it was good.
Who's your go-to Mario racer?
Yoshi.
Yeah. Always,
yeah, Yoshi. So and I will ruin you, so just don't come to
you already have. You already have.
Just submit now, yeah. So that was good, and then our family Christmas got pushed off because weather.
Again?
No, previously.
Oh, okay.
So I'm leading into my New Year's Day.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So it got pushed off because of weather. So we ended up celebrating it on New Year's Day. So we went, celebrated that with my sister, my nephew, her, my brother-in-law, I guess.
Yeah.
Which was okay. We have never done it this way before. So normally, we all get together and do Christmas. Now, we are a big Christmas family, and I'm, I guess kind of spoiled. I mean, it sounds terrible, but I am. I mean, we're big about Christmas every year. We spend too much money on Christmas every year, when really we could all just bought our own shit and been happy. But that's not the point of it, right? So what we decided to do was have split Christmas up. My sister moved an hour and a half away. We used to always do it at my mom's house. Well, my sister has a toddler who walks, and my mom has a dog who will
Eat toddlers.
Eat toddlers or anybody for that matter. So we decided to like split it. And like my mom was like, well, I can't fit everybody's gifts in my car and drive an hour and a half away. It's not possible. So we did Christmas at my mom's, Christmas at my sister's. But really, I think everybody was kind of disappointed with that this year. And I kind of agree. So I'm not sure what we're going to do. We're going to like rent out a space. Everybody just meet halfway. But it wasn't bad. It's not that it was a bad thing. It was just that, this year's been a little different. And, like I mentioned in the past couple of episodes, we've all been so ready for the year to just be over and go. And my year definitely ended and started with a bang. I submitted a piece to the Feminine Macabre. Hopefully that, goes through.
Yes, I will read it. It's in my inbox.
Oh, you haven't even read it? Wow.
Well, I mean, fuck
You're missing out.
Yeah, it's there. I have not deleted it. It's sitting there waiting on me.
So I did that, and I've just been doing, good things, a lot of good things, but nothing that's really probably worth talking about here. So I don't know. It was okay.
Yeah.
That's all I really have to say about how things have been going lately. It's been going all right. Yeah. That's what I got. Are you ready for some news, Pato?
Let's do it. I got news this week too.
Do you?
I brought something to the table for once.
Brought something to the
I'm
table?
trying to get better with it. Yeah.
You've been doing that lately. No, it's always been very interesting and informative, so that's fine. Well, I got one thing for you.
Okay.
So scientists found a virus-eating microbe. This is a big deal, and like nobody's talking about this. The microbe is called Halteria, okay? And what they did was they took Halteria and a specific virus, doesn't matter what it was a virus, and put it in a dish together and, watched it. What they would find was that the Halteria was, population was growing while the virus was dwindling. They then did another control where they actually injected the virus with some type of fluorescent something just to prove that the Halteria was actually eating it. It wasn't dying on its own. The Halteria then started glowing, so obviously it is eating it. This is a big deal. So now we have a new term on the table for diets. It's
virovore.
It's virovory, yeah, and it's the first virovore is what it is.
Yeah, nice.
And so this is a very, very new technology, but viruses kick our fucking asses. So if we could find a way to introduce a safe microbe into us when we're under attack from one of these viruses, then like that's going to be pretty fucking big, actually. That's going to be a big deal. Now, while this particular microbe now has been discovered, it's not that this is the only one. It's just that this is the first time we've ever really done this to see if it would even happen. So tons of testing to figure out what will eat a virus. Is it just when the microbe doesn't have anything else to eat and it gets desperate and will eat the virus? What's the ins and outs there? I don't know, but that's exciting shit right there.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Especially coming off of a pandemic, this
right.
With that type of technology, this probably may not have ever been a problem or may not ever be a problem in the future.
Right.
So, something to look forward to. But that's what I got in the news.
I have a UFO sighting that is just a little bit unique, so I thought that it warranted bringing up real quick. Tuesday, December 27th at approximately 1 p.m., Brian Lynch snapped a picture of a large saucer-shaped cloud that loomed over the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens in Palm Desert, California. And the reason that this is interesting is that it looks like something out of Nope. It's a giant cloud-shaped UFO. You can find the picture online. The guy that took a picture of it, Brian Lynch, just so happens to be the screenwriter of Minions and The Secret Life of Pets. So I don't want to say that he's necessarily a more credible witness just because of what he does for a living. But, in a certain perspective, yes, he is a more credible witness because he's already a famous person with lots of money, Hate to be a dick about it, but the likelihood that this guy staged this or something to try to make a quick buck or sell it to the tabloids is pretty fucking nil. So check out the picture online. It's interesting and worth taking a look at. And there's a couple other people that had pictures of it too. It was floating around. This phenomenon was floating around the internet. And it's interesting. It's worth taking a look at. So I wanted to bring up that. Also wanted to bring up something that Ashers was responsible for. Just a word of advice to our audience. Stay up on the Weekly World News Twitter account, because you shared a headline this week about chickens holding an underground farmer fighting ring that I sent to everybody I know, and not like it's like non-UFO cryptid people, like my normal friends, and everybody got a kick out of it. So, I love Weekly World News. As funny as I think I am, and as much as I love Weekly World News, seeing a headline like that just makes me realize that I do not have what it takes to write for Weekly World News. I know that's something that I kind of talk about sometimes. Like, I should write for Weekly World News. Like, that's something I should send them some samples and blah, blah, blah. And then I saw that one and I was like, dude, you don't have what it takes.
Top tier. Yeah.
Yeah, that was so fucking good. And the picture is great too. It's a bunch of chickens in a circle watching two fucking hillbillies beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
So
I always get a kick out of them. Yeah, I definitely do.
And I follow them on Twitter, but that one just slipped through the crack. I mean, I follow probably close to 500 people on Twitter. I don't fucking I miss stuff all the time. But you caught it and you reposted it, and then I caught it, and then I sent it to everyone I know. And just a shout out for our audience. And speaking of shout outs to our audience, this week's props goes to, and this is in a really interesting bout of synchronicity. I wrote the notes for today's show yesterday. And I had already had this kind of worked out, where I decided that I wanted to give props to Candace McVicker. She's the one that's responsible for our logo and a lot of our artwork. And a lot of my artwork, she's done basically every movie poster that I've done in the past 8 years. She did all the graphic design work for my side business, the general contracting business that I run. She did all the letterhead. She did the logos. She did the business cards. If you've ever gotten one of those Pat O'Sullivan Monster Hunter business cards, she designed those. And you can find her on Instagram as Candy McV or Candy O'Dandy. She does a lot of shit. She's someone whose creative abilities I honestly could not live without. She also kind of looks like Kelly Clarkson, which is awesome. And as luck would have it, her and I went to go see Avatar today. I could not find anyone to go see Avatar with me, and I just kind of threw a Hail Mary out there. Who wants to go see Avatar? And she's like, "Fuck, I'll go." So me and her just got back from seeing Avatar too, and that's before so this her being this week's shout out is not in a response to Avatar. That was something that was completely set up beforehand. It just happened to work out like that. And I found out she was the one that messaged you about us doing the D&D show.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was her, but she was like, yeah, which is something that I think I said that we should have done a long time ago. And someone else actually within the past week or two and if you're this person, just remind me who you are. But somebody messaged me and recommended that I read this book about the murders that were attributed to Dungeons and Dragons in the 80s. They weren't. The murders weren't connected to D&D, but the detective made that connection. And they said, "Oh, there was this book that you got to read," and it's called like The Dungeon Master or something. Forget who you are, but it is on my Amazon list. I'll get to it in a hot second. So that's it. And then my half-mast chubby shout out is going to go back to Mothman 46 again. Because I gave him one before, and then me and him have taken to talking to each other online, and he's even more remarkable now that I got to know him better. And he's a very skilled photographer. Hire him for your weddings or graduation parties or bat mitzvahs or quinceañeros or whatever.
Or paranormal investigation.
Yeah, he's a very skilled drone photographer.
Yeah.
And very funny guy. Very, very, very funny guy. So
yeah, I can't say it enough. Love Mothman 46. He's a great dude. I like Pato's review on Twitter, his extensive review of Avatar. It reads, I'll read it for the audience. It reads, Avatar was good.
It was. Avatar was good.
No, I appreciate that a lot. I do. So when I worked at the movie theater, in case for any reason anybody doesn't know, I worked at a movie theater for 5 years of my life. When I worked there, I really got into the habit of not watching movie trailers. It's hard, when you're cleaning theaters and stuff, or just operating a movie theater, like you walk in on these movies all the time. So if you're not the first fucking person to watch it, and normally you're not with like big releases, because guess what? We're all working because everybody's there. It'll spoil shit. But again, I got to the habit of not watching trailers for movies that I want to see, because it ruins the movie. You see all the cool parts, and it'll spoil it sometimes, and it's really dumb. I'm like, whoever edited this obviously didn't watch the movie, because now we know already. But I appreciate a good spoiler-free review, especially on a quick access area like social media, because too many people are like so into just putting it all out there and being like, well, if you didn't see it in the first 6 hours that it was out, it's your fault. It's like, no, my guy, some of us have lives.
Right. And why I do that? I do that a lot because that is my standard review. That's Pat O weighing in on a movie that's kind of controversial. That was my same review of Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends was good.
Yeah.
I liked it. You know what I mean? It's where there's a lot of discourse. There's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of people picking apart and taking shits on it and saying this and saying that. And I just sometimes want to know, like, is it good or not? Do I want to sit there for 3 hours or not? It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Right? Go see it. You know what I mean? It was not, I guess technically you could say it was groundbreaking if you look at, the technology behind it and everything. I did see it in 3D, which I'll admit I don't normally see movies in 3D, but I did make the effort to see this one in 3D, and I'm glad that I did. But it was good. And when the next one comes out, I'll probably go see that one too.
Sure.
There you go.
I've never watched the first Avatar.
It came out like when our kids were born.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
it did. That's exactly my thing too. I never saw it in the theater. I caught it. I remember I was up feeding my kid, and he was just a newborn baby. And I got him to go to bed, and then I put on Avatar, and I sat there and I watched it in the middle of the night for 3 hours. And then when it was over, I went to go to bed, and then he woke up again to be fed. And I was like, oh, this fucking movie. And, but I wasn't part of the theater hubbub where everyone went to go see it. And so, yeah, I
saw it. I went and watched it. I was at a friend's house smoking some pot, and they had Avatar on, and I was so fucking bored. And just from that, and granted, I walked into it probably in the middle of the movie. I don't know what the fuck was going on. I don't like the way the blue people look at all. At all. It's just cringy to me. It reminds me of like, you ever play Final Fantasy 8?
Which one is that?
That's final between 7 and 9. It's the
7.
It's the guy with the fucking jacket, and I mean that's all I really remember. He's got a fucking leather jacket on. It doesn't matter. It's just Google it. It's fucking ugly. It is one of the ugliest video games I've ever seen in my entire life.
7 is the one with the Mr. T with the Gatling gun hand, right? And the materia.
I've never played 7.
And then 8 is he's got like a bomber jacket and he's got the gun sword or whatever.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Maybe
the gun blade.
I don't remember. I haven't played that game in a long time. But when I just remember, all I remember from it is that it's fucking hideous, and it was the first Final Fantasy game that I ever played. And that was probably a bad idea because, again, it just was so ugly. It had turned me off from the rest of the franchise. I don't care how much people praise 7. It has turned me off from it. And that's unfortunate when that happens, I don't know.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 2 is the one to play. It's 4 in Japan, but it's 2 in the States. That's the one with the Dragoons. And that's the one, man. That's the one.
I don't mind old graphics. Like, that wasn't a problem. It's just that this was on the PS1. You could tell that they were trying something new.
Right.
And it just didn't work out. And that doesn't have anything to do with the story. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual gameplay. I just couldn't get over how much I hated looking at it.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about Avatar.
Yeah, I honestly, I debated rewatching the first one before I went to go see this, and I didn't. And it was fine. I figured out what was going on with the blue people fairly quickly. I did not rewatch the first one before seeing this. It was all right.
Gotcha. I gotcha. I watched a movie that I had been looking forward to for a long time. I watched Bones and All. And
Oh.
what's really unfortunate is that I usually have to watch a movie 2 times because, again, the first time, my ADHD brain is just already like, whenever somebody wants to watch a movie with me, I don't actively want to watch a movie. If it's not one that I've already seen, I don't wanna watch a new movie. My brain is just checked out. I don't want to. So, whenever I watch movies, I'm usually, for the first time, I'm doing something else, and if something catches my attention in that movie and makes me sit down and watch it, then I know I always have to watch it again. This definitely caught my attention again. It is long. It's like a little over 2 hours long. Um, but it starts off, I mean, right away, pretty much engaging and interesting. And I can't really tell you what it's about because again, I got to watch it again, but I'm going to. So that's a good review from me for a movie. Is that if I want to watch it again,
Yeah, I'll make the effort.
I absolutely will. Yeah, it was. I was like, damn. Once I got to the end, I was like, oh, that's a pretty good movie, I think. So I'm gonna try it out. I'll let you guys know next week if it's still good. But I think it was still good. Yeah, it's about cannibalism, so that's pretty cool. But not the way that you think. So just I don't know, just fucking watch it. Go into it blind, watch it, enjoy. So anyway, Did you have any other news?
I do not.
The Pope died.
The current Pope, or was he a past Pope?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I
I thought
stopped
that
being.
you had to die. I mean, I thought that's how the Pope worked. You're not the Pope. I didn't know that the Pope retired.
I don't know.
Do they? I don't know how Pope.
I've stopped being Catholic about when I married my wife.
I know, but you were Catholic. You should know about the Pope, Pato.
I never met him. He's never been in my kitchen. I don't. He doesn't come to the South Side very often. I know my dad. So my dad was a Chicago police officer. I know that he guarded the Pope that came to Chicago back in the 80s, and he was on stage with him at Grant Park.
Oh,
that's the only Pope story I have. But and he had to bring him fucking 6 altar boys an hour. But
stop it!
No, I was an altar boy. I never got fucked. I think that's all a bunch of fucking the liberal press trying to demonize the church. Satanists at work in the media trying to make up all this shit about, I don't know. We'll just drop this bit right here. Sorry.
Fair enough. That's why people don't really give a shit that the Pope died. They're like, well, he's a pedophile, so
yeah. I don't know. I think,
and I mean, like, if he is a pedophile, cool. If he's not,
well, I don't think there was any accusation against him directly. I think people just don't feel like the Catholic Church has done enough to root out. They've gone to great lengths to cover up accusations of pedophile in their own ranks. They move these people around a lot, and that was something that I remember Sinead O'Connor being on SNL, Saturday Night Live, in the 80s and ripping up a picture of the Pope, and everybody thinking that it was because she was Northern Irish. And that was during the heyday of the Troubles, where the Northern Ireland people were fighting against the Southern Irish people. And the Southern Irish people are traditionally Catholic, and the Northern Irish people are Protestant. They're from the Church of England. So her ripping up a picture of the Pope was some kind of dig against Southern Ireland and the IRA and all this shit. And what she was really talking about was the Catholic Church's the fact they haven't done anything about the pedophiles in the church. They just kind of fucking move them around and shit. And I don't know how I got off on that, but it's weird.
Guilty by association. I understand that, and I mean it's not like it doesn't happen, because it does. I mean, that's true, but I don't know. I'm not going to pretend I know anything about the Pope or Catholicism or
I'll just say one thing. The one of the things that I have gotten out of being not practicing Catholicism anymore and being a Lutheran or Protestant Catholic is that, Catholics kind of owned the whole vow of chastity. And priests can't marry and nuns can't marry, and they're supposed to lead these lives devoid of sex or romantic relationships. It's very extreme, very odd.
It is.
When you look at every other denomination, lets their people get married. Like when I run I talk about sometimes how I run the AV department at my kid's church. And the guy I run it with is the pastor's son. And he's like a normal guy. Like we fucking talk about Letterkenny and the Trailer Park Boys and shit. You know what I mean? And he had a pastor for a dad growing up. I mean, he's a little he doesn't listen to Guns N' Roses. He listens to country music. Like he's a little fucking square, but for the most part, he's like a normal dude. You know what I mean? I'd have a beer with him and shit. And that's because his dad, who's the leader of the church that we go to, was allowed to marry and have normal relationships and shit. And it reflects back even more on my upbringing in Catholicism, where the priests were these weird repressed guys that couldn't fuck. It's very archaic. And I don't know why the Catholic Church is so fucking dead set on that. A lot of it has to do with the Apostle Paul. And if we wanted to get into religious history, I could give you a lesson right now, but I won't because I don't know who gives a fuck. But a lot of it has to do with the Apostle Paul and the fact that he had weird sexual issues that he kind of imprinted on into a lot of his letters to the early church. And I think we can walk away from that shit now. Like that was one guy. I don't think there's any strength in that. I don't think the Catholic Church is stronger for its vows of chastity.
Yeah. Well, we all know that sexual repression typically leads to extreme deviancy. So they probably are pedophiles and doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And, because that tracks. I mean,
well, a lot of it too was if you were from an upstanding family back in the day and you had a kid that was queer, you would put him in the church because you didn't want him to embarrass the family. And that's fucking real. That's a lot of that. That's how kind of this. That's a big part of it too. It isn't that religion breeds homosexuality. It's that before homosexuality was accepted, the church was a dumping ground for your gay kids.
Sure.
And you would just put them in there because that way they had a reason to never marry. And that way they didn't bring shame upon their family. And they weren't out sucking dick in the alleys and whatnot. Right. Which is a terrible way to do it. And it's a different type of abuse. And those people that were forced into that kind of life were all kinds of fucked up in the head. Number one, they're trying to come to terms with the fact that they're gay. And then you're trying to get them to come to terms with the fact that they're gay by shoehorning them into a situation where they're being told that they're an abomination for being gay. It's just, it's fucking emotional torture. And I'm not that I'm defending any of that. I'm just saying that's a component of how this started or happened. We can move on to the Space Force whenever you're ready.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Sorry. I gotta.
That's okay. That's all right. Hey, that's all right. I brought it up. It's my own fault.
No.
Sometimes.
My trigger words.
Sometimes you really are asking for it, Most of the time not, but sometimes you are, and that was me. So right. I understand. Anyway, we did an episode, I think this past episode we talking about the Space Force.
Yeah.
Because nobody really knows what the fuck the Space Force is and what they do. And so that's what we're going to talk about this episode. Here's my contribution to this episode. Pato, you ready for this?
Yeah.
The Space Force is responsible for operating and defending military satellites and ground stations that provide communications, navigation, and Earth observation, such as the detection of missile launches. The Space Force is not really out there in space. It's still within our orbit, okay? And the whole idea of it is to make sure that basically the satellites aren't affected, because satellites do affect our daily life and could fuck with things that are important to us as citizens just kind of milling around and military, but I mean, could directly impact us if a missile were to be launched into one of our satellites. But that's it. It starts and stops there. That's what I got.
As of right now, yeah. So I I came to this. This was during the news segment of last episode.
Yes.
We failed to mention the previous episode, the Wendigo episode, that I believe December 10th was the Space Force's birthday, third birthday, and yeah, it was because it was founded in 2019. So yeah, and that I forgot to mention that, and we kind of started going back and forth, and we realized that there was something called Space Command, and I was scratching my head about what was the difference between Space Command and Space Force, because the Space Command was created back in 1985 to provide a joint command for all military forces in outer space and coordinate with other combatant commands. So there's like 11 different commands that utilize like different branches of the military. Okay, so let's do this real quick. Let's talk about the difference between Space Force and Space Command. Okay, so Space Force is a single branch of the military that organizes, trains, and equips space forces in order to protect Allied interests in space and to provide space capabilities to the Joint Force. Okay, the Joint Force is all of our military assets, right? Space Command is one of 11 commands and is a warfighting component that actively employs forces from the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Space Force. Okay, so Space Command is actually above Space Force. Space Force is a branch of the military. Space Command is the warfighting component that encompasses all of our assets and has jurisdiction of the United States military operations, all military operations above 62 miles above sea level. So there's a very specific ceiling for Space Command. Anything that happens with our military above 62 miles greater than mean sea level is the territory of Space Command, and by extension, Space Force. And as of right now, the only thing that we know of that has to do with is maintaining the integrity of our satellite communications.
Right.
Okay. Every branch of the military uses satellite communications. So, in a large scale conflict with another superpower, where they would try to disrupt ground communications, there stands to reason that there would be a military operation from an opposing force that would take place in outer space. And that is where Space Force and Space Command would come into play.
Well, I mean, it's kind of just like insurance for space war. It's just in case, so that way we can be prepared for something that could attack us from above, not necessarily alien in nature, but even just humans. Space Command was responsible for stopping an attack on some American troops in 2020.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were. Mm-hmm. Yep. They saw an incoming missile. They cleared the troops out of there. Nobody was harmed. So, I mean, there is, it works and it's important to have. But it just isn't the cool thing that, we all thought it would be. I mean, yes, we have Space Force, but like the UFO shit's handled by a totally separate thing. Like that's not even, it has nothing to do with that at all.
Well, I think so. So there is Space Command. Given when Space Command was founded, it's kind of got ties to the Star Wars program, which is something that we talked about when we first started talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars was this program that Reagan put into play for exactly what you just described, right?
Right.
ICBMs, which I'm going to say because otherwise I'll screw it up. ICBMs go into the atmosphere, go up into outer space, and then come down.
Mm-hmm.
While they're in transit, while they're in the upper atmosphere, while they're in outer space, or however you want to describe that zone, they're vulnerable, and we can safely detonate them. So if we have a laser or missile defense program, then we can shoot them down up there, and we don't have to worry about fallout. We don't have to worry about whatever. So there's a component of that as well. As long as the missiles go up and then they come down, we're going to have things on the upswing because we can see them going up, and that's a great time to fucking tag them, right? So that, and then the protection of satellites, that right there is a full-time job, I would think. I mean, granted, there's not a whole lot of missiles coming this way, but defending that area, defending that airspace above the United States, that's reasonable. It's logical. It makes sense, right? This is an area of vulnerability for us. It makes sense to have things up there that can get up there, that patrol up there, whatever. Totally makes sense. And that's before we get to all the sexy weird shit that we'll get to, where we start talking about UFOs, or we start talking about the moon, or we start talking about comets or asteroids or anything, right? Just that, I think, warrants a branch of the armed services. It warrants a command, because that's, the commands. Hold on, let me pull up my info. So there's 11 combatant commands, right, in the military, and they provide command and control of various troops from all service branches for a specific mission or specific geographic location. For example, Central Command is in charge of Middle East operations. Transportation Command is in charge of transporting troops and equipment everywhere. Northern Command is a combat command based locally at Peterson Air Force Base, and its primary mission is to defend the United States, the homeland. Space Command is obviously in charge of the space domain, and Colorado Springs was its previous home. They don't really have a home for it. So that's how new this stuff is. Like, Space Force is currently being run out of the Pentagon, but eventually they're going to find a place to stick it, and that's going to be like its home base, and they haven't found one yet. So all the Space Force is still kind of in the planning stages. A lot of this stuff did happen under Trump, but this was by no means his idea.
No, this has been around for a long time. Yeah, actually,
command since the 80s, and in 2019, they just kind of got around to it.
I mean, they'll open it and they'll close it, and they'll open it and they'll close it, and it's just right now it's open right now indefinitely, But that doesn't mean that during the times that there wasn't a name to it, that there wasn't a job for it, because there has been, but it's not. Okay. I mean, it sounds a little, it sounds terrible to say this, but it's not that big of a job. We don't have people in fleets of spacecraft that are going to be out in orbit battling in the skies. Could we eventually? Maybe, but that is not where we are at right now, not even close. Again, it's a monitoring system to make sure that our equipment up there is protected. We also monitor the debris and the space junk, which there is a lot of currently in orbit, I believe that's just in general through Space Command itself, just to make sure that it's not going to inadvertently collide with another satellite, whether that be ours or China's or Russia's, or it doesn't matter. If we had a collision, say we had a collision with a Chinese satellite, then the Chinese could go and be like, whoa, that was on purpose. And then now it starts a whole fucking war, because again, it's a problem. Satellite goes down, it's an issue. If just one goes down, it's going to cause a lot of fucking issues,
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really, that is what the job is here for these folks. I don't know. I'm very disappointed by it.
Can I talk about the weird, sexy shit I want to talk about?
Sure.
Okay. So number one, in the Air Force, they're called airmen. And in the Navy, they're called sailors. In Space Force, they're called guardians.
Yeah, which is weird.
Which is weird. And like, there's so much about Space Force that's like really cool, but I feel like it shouldn't be that cool. Like, I wonder if it's like, are they fucking with us, or are the nerds just running the show? Like, Guardians is like Guardians of the Galaxy? Like, where do you get Guardians from? Like, the Navy sailors, like, that makes sense. Why would you call them Guardians? Like, that's
what would you call them?
Astronauts or some shit? I don't know.
They're not astronauts. Astronauts go up into space.
Okay, but like, just the whole Guardians thing is like, it's a little too flowery. It's a little.
I mean, what else would you?
I don't know. I don't know. But here's the thing. I didn't get paid to think this up. Someone got paid to think this up. They came up with Guardians, and 3 other motherfuckers signed off on it. I want to know what the fuck they were thinking of. Were they pressed for time, or are they trying to make this seem like really sexy and cool? Because it's working. Like, I don't know. Like, that to me is.
I mean, I guess they could have called them guardsmen, but like, this is very much a desk job where they're sitting monitoring computer systems, and the whole point of it is to be on the lookout for potential attacks. So they are guardians, and they are guarding something.
I guess it's a very interesting choice of language to use.
No, I think it's weird too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and you're right. You're asking me to like put my finger on it, and I can't.
Well, I thought about it. Yeah.
You're just like, really? And then I invite everyone to go to the space. So go to space.com or spacecom.mil. Well, that's U.S. Space Command. Where's the Space Force website?
I think it's spaceforce.mil.
Okay, hold on. Let me double check it, because they have. Did you check that out? Yeah, it's spaceforce.mil. And
I did.
Okay, the picture that I'm talking about? So like, okay, so there's like, go to space. Go to spaceforce.mil, and they have lots of photos, FAQs. They have like promotional videos, which are like #Guardians Wanted. Which I'm telling you, if this stuff if I was in high school right now, I would be on the graduation day. I would graduate from high school. I would be on the first bus to wherever the fuck Space Force like colleges, and even the insignia looks like the Star Trek fucking insignia, like 100%. That like weird triangle that's like that kind of like dips up in the middle.
Yeah, they jacked that shit.
That's from fucking Star Trek, right? So like, this could not be any cooler for nerds. Like, this is like total nerd bait, and it works on me, and it makes me wish that I was 20 years younger, because I would be doing this in a fucking heartbeat. But yeah, go to the website and check out all the stuff. One of the things that it uses in their promotional pictures is this weird graphic of something coming from deep space and hitting Earth.
Because I'm on the homepage. Where's that at?
So if you're on the homepage right now, you see a part of it on the right hand side. So see how this is coming from outer space? That like streak that's coming down?
I don't, but I'm on my phone, so.
Okay, here you go. I am going to copy, and I'm going to put this in the chat, and let me know if you can.
Yeah, let me take a look at it.
Oh, fuck. I didn't mean to do that.
I mean, that's what I was going to say about these people's websites, is for people that are really great at technologies, their fucking websites are awful.
I know.
They are shit.
Like it's designed by an autistic person.
I can't read the FAQ. Okay, I see it. I can't read the FAQ because it's not formatted for a phone.
I know. It reminds me of all the chicks that I used to bang in my 20s and their fucking MySpace pages, where it's just like way too busy.
Yeah, I don't see it looks so much different. So if you're going to look at this, look at it on an actual computer.
But do you see how there's the thing of the You go to if you go to about Space Force, you go down, there's a video called US Space Force, in quotation marks, priorities.
Yeah.
And the picture is something coming from outer space and then hitting the Earth. Do you see that?
I don't think that's what that is, though, because to me it looks like this thing is launching from the Earth. I don't know what's going to be this video, and shooting off into space, and is going to come back. Yeah, because when something launches, your biggest, your biggest explosion is going to be at the launch and then at the target. To me, it looks like it is coming. It's a missile being shot from the Earth up, and it's going to come back down, which is exactly what we're trying to prevent. That's what it looks like to me.
I don't know. I mean, I think, well, we'll make a Twitter poll about it. I just encourage everyone to take a look at it. Go to the Space Force.
Take a look at it, yeah.
Yeah, spaceforce.mil website, and just poke around in there next time you're bored at work. Because there's a lot of stuff there that you'll constantly keep asking yourself, is this real? And it's real. And yeah, I mean, this is so surreal to me, I guess. The fact that it was created, the fact that their insignia is a ripoff of the Star Trek logo that the guys wear on their shirts. There's everything of the Guardians thing. Everything is just wow. Is this some, you had said in your text message, I think this is a psyop.
I do.
I'll let you say your piece because
yeah. I mean, that is what I think. After, trying to deep dive this for information, this is the Denver airport, but for the military. This is very not sexy. There's nothing fun about it. I was very bored, and I just thought for a long time that really what this is just an excuse. I mean, it's just a psyop for the military to throw funding at something to make more money into people's pockets. And I still think that. It's not that there are people, it's not that there aren't people and they're not, working in it and whatever, but it just seems like an excuse for money. I mean, because again, these people aren't going off into space, right? They're not flying fighter jets into space or anything. They're sitting at computers. They're just sitting there.
Right. Well, they're all Air Force personnel. There's 16,000 people, servicemen and women and civilian contractors, which I am on the job desk. They have my resume, and every time a position opens, they send it to me, and I'm just looking for a good fit. I will, dude, if I could be a civilian contractor with the fucking Space Force in a heartbeat.
Sure.
If I had one of them, I was totally qualified for the job, but I'd have to move to Japan. My wife was like, get the fuck out of here. And I wanted to be like, well, that's it. I'm going to Japan. But, yeah, we also have to remember, we're in year 3 of this. They don't even have the full, it's not even completely set up yet, right? They don't have a boot camp. They don't have a training camp. They're taking in, it's just basically Air Force people that want to transfer, so it's not really fully established. And, it's not the Marines yet. It's not the Coast Guard yet. It's not the National Guard yet. We're in year 3. We're in year 3. Go back in time. What was year 3 of the United States Navy like? You know what I mean? I'm sure it was just getting its ground set up. And maybe that's all this was look, if we look at the next 100 years, this is going to be a fucking thing. So let's start year 1 now. Let's start this now. And it's going to take a while to be fully realized, and it's going to take a while for us to fully comprehend what the mission is going to be. But we know space is out there. We know that it's a potential battlefield. Let's start the first clumsy steps of getting things in place for us to be the superpower in outer space that we are all over the terrestrial world now.
Sure. Definitely. And I mean, if this turns into something great, it sounds like we're just kind of setting up our dominoes to be prepared for maybe something. But as it stands right now, Space Force is not remarkable. I mean, that's that. If you're looking for UFO shit,
no,
there's nothing there, right? What you really want to look at is the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, which is located. Yeah, the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. That is who is studying UFOs in our government. It's a branch within the Office of the Secretary of Defense, but it is a pointed point for this type of research. It used to be the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, but now it's not. They keep changing the name, which is interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking at this right now. There's jobs for it too.
And that's what we should have done.
No, I still want to do it. I'll do it. I let people laugh about that shit. Hopefully, there's less competition. There's less people getting their resumes in. I already do a facilities manager for a public institution now. Let me do a facilities manager once they figure out where their bases are. I'll run the fucking chillers there. You know what I mean? Like, I'll make sure they got AC in those offices, in the holding cells for the Chinese astronauts they capture. But
yeah, it is. But yeah, that's the official program right now as it stands. Again, there's like 4 different names for this program, but none of them are Space Force or Space Command. That doesn't mean that they wouldn't eventually work together to do what they need to do, or that they don't work together now to do what they need to do, because they probably do in some way. Again, it is ran by the Secretary of Defense. So that is something to note, is that it's not just like government. This is also very much military involved,
Yeah. They probably drug test too.
Right now, yeah, they definitely do.
I'm fucked.
And it's like a fucking, it's like a hair test. So I guess you shave
around that. Right? Yeah.
But don't find somewhere that you haven't.
I would almost do it just to make the CIA agent doing the background check and me listen to every episode of this podcast. We got our list to get our plays up. You know what I mean? How about that?
Sure. They listen to one episode, they're like, "Oh, holy shit!" It just depends on which one they hear. They're like, "Oh, holy shit, they're right." And then they start deep diving. Then they listen every week. They become regular listeners, and then they fucking buy a T-shirt because they enjoy what they hear.
Sure, fanny pack.
The fanny pack.
Or when they're on the range, it's a great place to store magazines.
Yeah, it is. It is, and sauerkraut. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, the Space Force is not that cool, but that doesn't mean that it can't be cool eventually, and it doesn't mean that I am fucking knocking anybody for being a guardian. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, like I said, if this came out 20 years ago, my life would have been completely different. I would have done this in a heartbeat.
I think a lot of people feel that way. Yeah. But we did it. I mean, we said we would talk about what it is and what it entails, and and all that, and see what that deal is. And well, that's the deal with Space Force and Space Command. And
no point
them involved NASA.
No point fucking a dead horse. I mean, it's not. There's no. They haven't. There's been no historic operations except for the one that you just mentioned, but that was Space Command, I think.
Yeah, I believe that was Space Command. Yeah.
Yeah,
they're kind of like they're kind of Space Force and Space Command are like partners.
Well, Space Command supersedes Space Force.
Yeah,
but I would say that this is good. This was a good primer, and just keep your eyes open for it and pay attention to it and check in with it every once in a while. See what happens, because it's still a trickle. It's still government moves very, very slowly.
It's learning. Yeah,
and they're still trying to figure out where they want to hang their posters at, and get together a training camp or a boot camp or something, and they'll get there. They'll get there eventually.
And they've made it look very fun. I mean, it looks like a great time.
Dude, it does.
It does.
I hate being this old. I really hate being this old. Because I would be all over this shit. I would be so excited to go to work every day. Although I was thinking about this, as much as I would love to be part of the Space Force and tell people I was part of the Space Force, like you meet people that are in the military and they're like, "Oh, I'm this," and you're just like, I don't know, that's not really that cool, dude. But I would be like really cool about it. I would be so fucking jazzed about this. I don't think I would want to go in outer space. Like, I don't think I would want to work on the moon or in a space station. I would want to fly an X-wing into outer space and shoot other bad guys in spaceships and then fly back down to Earth. That I would like to do. But I wouldn't like to live in outer space. That would freak me out. What about you?
No, I don't want to live in outer space.
Yeah. Yeah, that does not seem like a good time.
No.
And just knowing that you're surrounded by this, like, the void of fucking infinity is like, ugh. No
it's not a good time. No, it's terrible. There's lots of reports that you can come across that, people talk about living on the International Space Station or whatever, which they're going to shut down eventually. So that'll be interesting to talk about when it happens. But yeah, it wouldn't be fun. It's not a good time. It's very disorienting. Now, I guess you adjust, but it's absolutely nothing like living here.
Yeah, I would fly around up there and shoot other and like dogfight, but that's it.
But nobody does that yet. That's the problem. There isn't dogfighting yet in space, and I thought that's what this would be, and it's not that, and I'm mad.
Well, that's why, like, who says that UFOs aren't our version of X-Wings? Who says that these giant triangle craft aren't fucking, that's what we come up with? You know what I mean? Like, that's what they're going to look like when we fly them around in outer space for whatever reason, because of the way they have to do the thing. I don't know. I mean, I guess because maybe you can't fly, maybe like the X-Wings just don't work. Like, you can't just shoot something in outer space like built like that. It's got to look a different way, and it's something that I say all the time when they talk about, like, the UFO is spotted and it's the size of a football field or something. Those are troop transports, right? If it's that big, why would you build something that big unless it's to move stuff? Move a lot of stuff, move a lot of people off world. I don't know. We're getting into a different topic now. We're totally branching off into something different, but
UFOs are aliens. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry to burst your bubble there, Pato.
So maybe there's still hope for X-Wings after all.
There could be X-Wings and aliens might have them. I don't think so, though. I think you are right about that. Obviously, the shape's got to be different. A lot of things about it has to be different. I mean, look at what we send people to in space, and not just like, again, get outside of our atmosphere. That's easy. We can do that. We've mastered that. We know how. That's not a big deal. Get outside of our atmosphere and look at the type of crap that we're sending. It doesn't look anything like an X-Wing.
Yeah, that's a bummer. That's why I'm not an astronaut.
They're ugly. Yeah, whatever it is we're sending out there, it's ugly. Like, at least there's some glitter on that shit. Like, do something, fancy it up a little bit.
Right.
But still doesn't look anything like UFOs do.
Yeah.
So that's interesting too. But maybe the UFOs are just maybe they're us from a different time.
Whatever. Just hire me, Space Force. Hire me as a civilian contractor. I have so many years of HVAC experience.
Apply for the job.
I know. I think I took myself off their email list because it was all stuff in Japan. It was, they were doing something in Colorado. They were building office space or something there, or Montana or something.
I mean, that's weird that it's stuff in Japan.
It was for an Air Force base. It was for a base over there, and they needed HVAC technicians.
Apply for Right Pat. They've got jobs all the time.
Yeah, I'm not just looking to be a civilian contractor. It was very specifically a civilian contractor for the Space Force.
Oh, okay. Apply for Right Pat. I'm sure they've got a whole they got the oh my god, the space building there. I'm blanking on the name. I don't know. Listen, it's an Air Force base. They've got space type jobs there. I promise.
I gotcha.
I promise. And then you can find aliens.
Yeah.
One of my friends works there, and I can't tell you what he does, but he told me about this room that they have there called the clean room. And they experiment on animals. And when he asked, what kind of experiments, they said, you don't want to know.
So listen to going to the the civilian careers for Space Force. Listen to what it says. Maybe your purpose on this planet isn't on this planet. That's their tag. I'm telling you, they're fucking way too good at this.
Because they're not sending anybody into space right now.
As the Space Force takes shape, Air Force Civilian Service is recruiting the brightest civilian minds in science, technology, aerospace, and engineering to help forge its future. Incredible opportunities await talented and ambitious professionals, that's me, who can contribute to this vital branch of our military. We have dozens of jobs that need to be filled. Get the details and start your application process. Okay, so let's look at hot Space Force jobs. And here's the locations. There's Philadelphia, Washington, California. There's some in LA, Denver. What's in California? El Segundo, California. Junior budget analyst. What's this? Air conditioning technician leader in Colorado Springs. I could do that. What's this one?
So you just weren't trying hard enough to get a job there, Pato.
Here's something you could do: sexual assault, sexual harassment victim advocate.
Oh, I could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you were a counselor or something.
Yeah, advocate for my county.
We could work together, and I could be the HVAC guy, and you can talk to people that have been assaulted.
I have absolutely zero interest at all whatsoever to work for the United States government.
Air conditioning technician leader. So let's see what but they pay shit money. That's the other thing too. It's like I'd have to like the ceiling is like half. I don't want to get into that, but it's not very. You don't pay a lot. Maybe the cost of living is cheap. Do you have to live on base? I mean, I have all of the
not civilian workers.
I have all of the criteria as far as what I would need to do to get this job. I just maybe when my kids are away at college and I don't need to support them anymore, I'll go do this.
All right. Anyway, Pato's going to look for a job at the Space Force. I don't think
Cheyenne Mountain Space Force Station. That's where it's at. So
okay.
All right. Sorry. I'll let you do the closing thing.
I don't know if people want to listen to you shop for a job. Maybe they do. But
even for the Patreon, so I can afford the pay cut.
Stop this recording. Let's do another one. Right. We'll do it.
Listen to Pat fill out job applications.
Fucking giving away all the good stuff that we do over on the Patreon. Fuck. Anyway, that's the Space Force, guys. We'll run a poll. What do you think that image on the priorities video is? Do you think it's a missile launching or out into space, or do you think it's a missile launching from space? Definitely let us know. And with that being said, we'll see you guys back here next Wednesday.